All right, guys. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Tower Garden chat, December 12th, 2023. And I have a special guest tonight. I have Zudannie from Miami and I have Sony from Houston. So it's going to be super exciting to have some new faces and some new stuff. And as we always do, we're going to start off by making sure everybody knows what the Tower Garden is. So let's roll our quick video and we can make sure we know what's going on, how the Tower Garden works, and what it's all about.
My tower gardens are amazing. The aeroponic gardening system I absolutely love. I have this one that's complete of tomatoes, beefsteak and cherry tomatoes and basil. Then the other one's just a mixture of like chard and broccoli and all my favorite different fruits and vegetables I have. And now my third one is gonna have different herbs, so like lavender and thyme and sage.
I would spend probably about $50 a week on organic fruits and vegetables, and now I don't have to do that.
I also juice every day, so I get all my kale and all my chard from there and anything else I'm going to put in there. So I love that thing.
Because it tastes good. It really does. And I have no green thumb. I can't grow anything, and I've been able to get things to grow. The best tomato I had last summer was from my tower garden.
This is my first time ever seeing celery grow from start. And we have huge stocks of celery. My wife's a big strawberry fan, so we've done strawberries.
All winter long, we've been able to grow fresh produce in our living room. It makes a nice centerpiece and talking piece. Move the coffee table out, move a tower garden in. And it's been really fun for my family and my kids.
It becomes such an amazing experience for them because they get to go and they get to pick it themselves.
I told them, you can just walk right up to it and eat from it, and they love that.
When we have salad party day, we harvest our tower garden, and the kids are having their salad party and coming back and asking for more salad, please. You're doing the right thing.
And the joy of feeding our family, where we literally grow outside the kitchen door, harvest from tower to salad bowl to table, it's just been a wonderful addition to our diet.
And he does most of it now. And I was the one that gardened in the soil for many years. He's now our tower garden farmer.
And clearly, if I can grow a tower garden, it's inevitable that anybody can grow a tower garden.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
All right. So guys, that explains it. It is so simple. It just works. And I love this thing. I love this thing. All right. So my name's Doug, and thanks for joining us. Hey, Hayden, how are you? Good to see you on here, Michelle. Hayden, I need to have you on here soon. Hayden's got some cool stuff going with Tower Gardens and some big plans for the future. So we are a part of a healthy community that's all about helping people get healthier and spreading information like this around the world. This is our Tower Garden chat. Tower Gardens are just one of the ways we like to do it. I'm kind of focused on a mission of just helping people eat more plants and grow more plants. I figure if we're growing them, we're going to eat them. If we're eating them, we should be growing them because they're going to be better. So it goes hand in hand. It's perfect. So, well, let's hop right in. Let's move on over to Sony oh my gosh, what part of Texas are you in again?
I'm in Houston,
Houston,
Texas.
That's right.
Yes, the fourth largest city in the country. So I am an urban gardener. So we are deep inside the loop of Houston, Texas, inside the inner loop, right? Houston actually has 3 loops. And so, we've been growing for, 11 years, right? Tower Garden came out in 2012.
Yeah, 11 or 12 years.
So one of my units is 2012. Another one I got the year following, and then I got a third one a few years later. And so I just love our towers. Now, right now I'm just growing indoors, mainly because I don't have a good power source outside. I need to find a way to do some solar or something with the outdoors area that I have here. But honestly, this has been plenty for us for the last couple of, several months. I've been traveling a lot. I'm back to traveling like I did before the pandemic, maybe even more so, which has me on a plane several times a month. Most recently, I came back to Florida. That's where I'm originally from. And my mom, unfortunately, took a fall and broke her hip. So I went home for 3 weeks, dropped everything, jumped on a plane the next morning. And my husband took care of this while I was gone. Actually, I should say, didn't take care of it because all he did was put a little water in the reservoir, right? That was it. So you're looking at this tower. I planted everything from seed. September 9th when I planted my steps. So I came back and it was just a complete jungle. This is essentially what I consider just another household appliance. I don't think I'll ever have a kitchen without one, because there's just nothing like it in terms of how fresh everything is, how nutritious everything is, and most importantly, how tasty everything is. So I remember when I first started growing on my towers, starting to crave salads, and I was like, who am I that I'm craving salad? But I've also came to the realization of, oh my gosh, I know why I never liked salad before, because it was this boring iceberg lettuce that was like water. So here's what I'm growing. I've got some kale, blue scotch kale here. This is Swiss chard, so you can see how small and tender those leaves are. Now, mind you, this is just from September, so this is going to keep going and growing. I'll just harvest. We're going to talk about harvesting, right? I just harvest this as I need it. And so to me, that's the best part because I have no CRISPR coffin, right? The CRISPR coffin is where your fruits and veggies go to die. And my fruits and veggies are on this tower constantly growing. And so the other thing is they're not hidden away in the drawer. They're right here in my face and it's right here in my kitchen. So I just grab whatever I need to make the salad I'm going to make or throw some greens into my smoothie, whatever it is that I want to make with my dishes. So I've got my kale, I've got a bunch of different kinds of lettuce. There's some romaine here, the Swiss chard here. back here I have, can you see that? That is a cilantro plant, so I can be making my salsa with my fresh cilantro. I grabbed most of my parsley off today, so I've got parsley up there. But like I said, I was in Florida for 3 weeks, so we're doing Thanksgiving tonight. I've got some arugula down here. The arugula, oh my gosh, I wish we had smell-o-vision, y'all. This smells incredible, and it's so tasty. It's really peppery. Yes. My experiment that I'm doing is, you can see I've got a lot of flowers on here. So I'm experimenting with tomatoes. Those are some tomatoes that aren't going to vine out so much. They're more of a bush. And then I've even got some squash. So you see I've got some nice squash blossoms down here. Yeah. Now, mind you, I've got to pollinate those myself because there's no bees in my house. So I have to be the bee. So yeah, that's a little tour of my tower garden.
That is awesome. We talked a little bit about pollination last week, and yeah, that was one of the what have I done? Okay, so that was one of the things that we were talking about is when you're growing things indoors, you do have to manually pollinate because unless you got bees flying around inside your bedroom, or in your kitchen. But that's gonna, it's very easy to do. You just take a toothbrush. Even on a tomato plant, sometimes you can just shake it, and that's all you're really gonna need.
That's what I was doing earlier. I was just kind of shaking them. I've got the power cords back here, and so they kind of wrapped up around that. So I'm just giving that a little shake.
That's great. And how long were you out of town again, Sony?
I was out of town for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if I had filled everything up to the top before I left, it would have been just fine. But my hubby did put some water in once while I was gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually tell people you can do like a 10-day trip, probably no problem.
Easy. Yeah. There was another time when we went overseas. We went to France and Italy for 2 weeks. We didn't have anyone check on our towers or anything. We just filled them up to the brim before we left. And when we came back, they were great.
I know, that always amazes me.
The only thing that might be problematic in that situation is if there was a power outage, but I don't think there was anything like that went down. So.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot. We're going to come back to you when it's time to do a little chit-chatting, but let's move on over to Zudannie down in Miami, who has quite a different experience so far in tower gardening. She's a little bit newer, but Zudannie, why don't you go ahead and give us a little tour?
Hi guys, so I am certainly new to the game. This is my baby. Started at the end of October. We were growing Tuscan kale, cilantro, thyme, parsley. I have jalapenos growing. They're coming in out of these flowers. I'm super excited. Can't wait to make salsa. My rosemary is a little slow. I'm not sure why. We've got spinach, and this we were just talking about is broccoli, and it's actually going to come out of these like flowers in here.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Arugula, which she just mentioned, ours is really peppery as well, and I absolutely love it. We have green beans growing down here as well. And I've got tomatoes, but I don't know where they will be coming from and when or how that works.
Yeah.
And I have a chamomile plant here because I love chamomile tea. So I'm excited about all of this. I have known about the tower for a very long time, but had not jumped on the bandwagon because I have a black thumb. I cannot grow anything. That is not a gift that anyone has ever given me that I have done well with. Except for cactus, which truly is not like I'm doing anything for them. So I was never intrigued to have a tower because I honestly was afraid that I'd kill it. Everything I bought at Publix that everyone else seems to grow basil with no problem, I kill. Rosemary, I kill. This I haven't killed, and I'm super excited about it because not only have I not killed it, but it tastes phenomenal, which is exactly what pushed us to purchase this because our girls had a chance to spend the summer in Europe and they got to eat really, truly fresh fruits and veggies consistently at every meal, and they didn't give us a hard time about it. On the contrary, they wondered why we couldn't eat like that at home, or why we don't eat like that at home in the same capacity. And so I figured, well, if there's anything that's going to make them eat that way, it's going to be me growing it in such a way that has, I'm assuming, the minerals that the soils have over there. And maybe that's what's in the minerals in the Tower Garden, in the tonic. I don't know. But it certainly tastes just as good. And that's what I'm super pumped about, because we have eaten quite a bit off of it already and are loving it. We can truly compare it to what we were eating this summer, and that's a lot to say.
You know, I got to tell you, I mean, I know you're kind of brand new. I mean, you started in October or September, October. That's amazing.
End of October.
End of October. And
yeah.
Okay, so there's several people on here that have been growing for years. I know Hayden's on here. He is a semi-professional grower who's looking to even start like a Tower Garden farm. And I got to tell you, when you give a tour of your Tower Garden, I mean, there's cilantro is unbelievable. I have a real hard time getting cilantro going. Every plant you showed was very healthy. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
I'm not doing much, Doug. So
you know,
if I can say, this is really doing its own thing.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, the tomatoes are gonna come out of the flowers.
Okay.
So the flowers, if you want to just take like a Q-tip and just touch flowers and touch them all around to all the other ones, unless you see like bees flying around during the day, and you know, then they're doing it naturally. Well, I want to share with you guys. I'm going to share with you guys my wife had to go out. She's usually my tour guide, but today I'm going to actually just play a video for you guys. This was actually, I posted this on social, but this is a cool little video of my Tower Garden. This is probably a few weeks ago or so. Mine are a little taller. I have the extension on them, but I grow lots of greens. There's some peppers. That's my lettuce tower right there. And I grow a ton of lettuce because I'm a proponent of growing what you really eat. You know, whatever you're eating a lot of, that's what you should be growing a lot of. On this tower, I have a lot of bok choy, which I'm actually going to show you some of my bok choy. I picked a plant off to give a little bit of a demo on harvesting. On this tower, look at the size of those onions. They look like big dreadlocks sticking up. Those are actually onions that just got huge. I have lots of basil on this plant, on this Tower Garden. And also those are those kind of peppers that you can stuff right there. What are those called? Poblano peppers. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, poblanos. And they're great if you're making black beans or you're just going to do stuffed peppers or something. They stuff really, really well. And then, of course, there's my tower with mostly a little bit of kale on the top, but mostly lettuce. I love that you can grow like a red lettuce like that, that's called oak leaf. That's romaine, a little bok choy, and some kale right there. So there's one of those poblano peppers, and those things are just awesome. I mean, it's just so nice to be able to just, you know, pop them into a dish that you're making, and it's just amazing. Well, let me go over a few things, and then we can kind of talk it through as a little bit of a group here. And that is, and Zudannie, I know you're kind of new, so don't worry, you don't have to make anything up. But I would love to hear your experience too as a new person, you guys. So feel free to unmute Sony and Zudannie. Basically, there's two kinds of harvesting that we do. You know, we have the what we call, Sony was talking about cut harvesting, and that's where when you harvest, you just take what you need and kind of leave the plant there, which is pretty common on a Tower Garden. You know, when you're growing in the ground, especially if it gets up to full size, even on the Tower Garden, there's a point where you do want to kind of like, you know, stop the madness. This is a bok choy plant. This is actually a green bok choy. I took this off tonight because it's small. My other bok choys are like, they would fill the whole screen. But you can see on this root here, that's where I've been cut harvesting. I just pull the leaves. So what I do is if I'm going to make a stir fry, I just go to my bok choy and I pull off some leaves from the back like this. And now I can go use those leaves, and you can see it'll like leave a little bit of a spot there. The better you pull them off, the more cleanly you pull them off, you'll get less like rot or anything down there. But then you have what you need, and you just go and you cook with it. And this will keep growing for a very long time, almost too long sometimes. There is a point where your plants kind of get too big. You see how this is getting thick? Eventually it'll get so big, it's kind of like breaking through the bottom of the tower garden. And then the other type of harvesting is whole plant harvesting, which is actually what I did tonight. That's where you cut the whole plant off and you just, like you would buy it at the grocery store. It's just kind of, it's there and it's done. So, what about when you hear me talk about that, Sony? What are you thinking as far as how you harvest?
You know what? I think that you're spot on, right? Sometimes you cut harvest, and sometimes I think when the plants get so big, it's like, okay, let's just go ahead and pull the whole thing and you know, eat what's there. So you know that's. I probably would do that with some of the, like, I think I'd let my kale go. I think I'd let my Swiss chard keep going, but this lettuce, like, it's out of control, right? When I look at the undergrowth here, like it's been neglected.
Yeah.
I was gone 3 weeks. So, you know, that I'm probably going to go ahead and pull. Yeah.
Yeah, just pull it out. And then when you pull it out, I mean, I do that too. Sometimes you pull a plant out. Like Zudannie's, yours are all young plants, so they really look nice. But to keep it looking that nice, you have to prune it basically. So what I try to do is kind of combine pruning along with harvesting. And if you're really kind of smart about that, it'll keep your tower looking really nice and neat. Nothing against, but Sony's is a good example of it. Like, it's kind of overgrown because she's been out of town. So there are some lettuce plants that are kind of going downward. They bolted a little bit. So those are things where she could harvest those whole plants, but still get some good stuff off of it, you know, and really do that. Zudannie, what has been your experience so far?
Kitchen scissors.
Yeah. And
I've literally just, I've snipped everything off. I kind of didn't really research what was the harvesting process. So once it looked good enough to eat, I just started cutting things off and putting them in the things I wanted to consume them in. And some of them I wasn't sure, like I asked earlier about the broccoli, I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to be expecting. Now I know I can both consume the leaf and wait for the actual like broccolini looking broccoli to come about. So my kitchen scissors honestly have been my go-to.
Yeah, it's just kind of common sense, right? You just go out and you clip some off, and I like Zudannie's attitude is great. Both of you guys are, because Sony just went away for 3 weeks and didn't worry about it, and she did what she had to do for 3 weeks. She comes back and there's more food growing. Zudannie's brand new; she doesn't know, so she's just saying, "What should I do? I don't know. Let me just clip some food off and eat it." You know, and it works. You know, it works. And now, keeping a sharp scissor is going to help the plant stay healthy. Believe it or not, harvesting or clipping some off, especially with herbs and stuff, that's going to actually promote more growth. So that's a good thing to do. And with those tomato plants I saw you having there, do you know about like pruning, like the suckers? So when you have two, when you know the vine will split into two at certain points, and then there'll be like another tiny little third one that comes out in between them. That's called a sucker. You just pinch them off with your fingers and keep those a little bit trimmed, and that'll help.
I'll go looking for them.
Yeah, and then also once you start getting tomatoes, if you harvest those tomatoes, it promotes the plant wanting to grow more. So it's a good idea to keep pruning and keep harvesting. And believe it or not, you could even, if you let it go all the way, I saw Sony has some stuff that's getting some flowers and stuff near the top. That's what plants do right before they're going to spread their seeds around to, you know, to grow like that. And I let my basil go to flowers at the top, and the bees come around. They love it. And now if I don't mow my yard enough, I find basil just growing in the yard like a weed, because the seeds kind of fall down on the ground. So I want to show you guys one more thing before we kind of finish up today. And that is, this is one of my favorite websites. Where we are, there we are. Johnny Seeds. We went on this last time. I mean, Johnny's, I'm telling you, I got to get I should be endorsed by them. There we go. Brought to you by Johnny's. Okay, so one thing you can do, we talked about this last week. Let's go to like the lettuce. You know, I go to the lettuce a lot. All right, so when we look at our lettuce, we can see some information here. For instance, let's go to oak leaf. I was showing you guys my my red.
Yeah, that was pretty. I want to.
Yeah, this is it right here.
I was thinking I need to order some of that.
It's beautiful. And you can get it in different types of lettuce, like kind of a leaf lettuce or a bib, you know. So let's just say we want this one right here. Now, the first thing that I like to know and kind of write down. So one thing you might want to do when it comes to harvesting is keep a log, you know, because we didn't know this, but we just looked up Zudannie's broccoli, and it turns out, what was it called? Zudannie is like happy something?
Happy Rich.
Happy Rich. Yeah, and she ordered that from the Living Towers down in the Florida Keys, and we're going to have Dee from Living Towers on this eventually. And it turns out that thing gets mature in like 27 days. Now, it doesn't always, it's not always perfect. I mean, we didn't really, I mean, it's probably been a little warmer in Miami than is ideal. 68 though is the ideal temperature. This is for the lettuce.
The oak leaf.
Yeah, we're on the oak leaf. So you look this up and you see your germination guide. This is for our germination. It tells us the temperature, it's ideal at 68 degrees. And this will go 47 days, and that's when it'll be mature. Then I can also look in this section here, the growing information, where we can see it grows best at 60 to 65 degrees. Don't let that deter you, though, because even I used to live down almost as far south as Zudannie, and I grow lettuce right through the summers in Fort Lauderdale area, no problem. 98 degrees, and you're good to go still with the Tower Garden. It works. But the cool thing you can see is the lettuce seed can enter thermal dormancy when exposed to high temperature. So you got to be careful. Soil temperature 60 to 68 is ideal. And, you know, that might be difficult in your home, but, you know, most of our homes are down around the low 70s. So that's close enough. It works. But here's another cool thing. We go down here to days of maturity. That was already listed over here. Then we can read the harvest instructions. Head lettuce, cut at the base, keeping wrapper leaves for handling loss. This is kind of made for commercial stuff. Consider cutting alternating plants to extend your harvest window. And it tells you things like for baby leaf lettuce, harvest about 1 inch above the growing point when leaves reach the desired harvestable length, about 3 to 4 inches long. So, I mean, it's really nice to just review this information and see how we could, get our food off there. If we were growing squash, if we want to see how do we harvest like a zucchini, you know, same thing here. I go down, this is 47 days. So when I plant it, I should mark down when it's expected to be ready. That way I'm not wondering and looking all the time. Plus you might have kids that are going out of their mind waiting for it to be ready. But harvesting, look at this one on zucchini. It says harvest regularly. Oh, and it's common for the first fruits to be malformed, withered, or blackened. That's weird. I didn't know that. Harvest regularly. Yeah, 2 to 3 times a week once plants begin to produce. Cut or gently twist off the fruits when they reach the desired size. For zucchini, 6 to 8 inches long. You know, so I mean, this stuff is really helpful, and it's a really great way to just approach it a little bit more in a professional manner. And again, we're going to try to have some professional farmers on here that grow with Tower Gardens, and that will help us to get some of their tips. But a lot of those tips are available at Johnny Seeds. Just checking if we have any questions. It looks like we're good to go. So, guys, that's basically it for harvesting. You just got to be patient. It's like watching the paint dry, but a lot more exciting. You get to watch the grass grow, and when it gets there, we get to harvest. And it's really, really, really simple. Any final words? Sony, what's your best tip?
My best tip is to just have fun. Just play with it. Keep it fun. You know, I love all the charts and stuff, but most of the time I just experiment and see you know, oh, it says that that's the best range. Well, let's see how it does here. And a lot of times it does great. And if it doesn't, then I know, all right, we'll try something else. But yeah, just have a great time.
Excellent. Zudannie, what's your tip?
I couldn't agree with you more, Sony. I have not followed any. I have not followed any chart, any of it. I love watching the videos when you do share them, Doug. But I literally just have put on there exactly what my family wanted to eat and what I knew could go tower to table, and that for me was most important. If I could go tower to table, I'm all for and I'm all in. And so far, so good.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. Next week, we'll be back again, the last one of the year. Next Tuesday night, a little bit more Tower Garden chat. I think we're going to do Rocking Around the Tower Garden. We're going to do some Christmas Tower Gardens next week. It's kind of a fun time. And we'll just show them off and have a good old time. And we're going to start up in the new year, again, with some professional growing tips and lots of good stuff. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Good night.